This is GrantTalk, hosted by Libby Hikind, founder and CEO of GrantWatch and author of The Queen of Grants.
Hi, everybody. I'm Libby Hikind, founder and CEO of GrantWatch, and I'm your host today on GrantTalk. And I am so happy to be here today with Sarah Roberts, the Executive Director of the Connie Dwyer Breast Cancer Center. And she is involved in very meaningful work, as you all can imagine. And I want to hear what they're doing at her center. So Sarah, please let us know what your organization does.
At the Connie Dwyer Breast Cancer Foundation, we support women and ensure that all women in New Jersey have access to breast health care, including treatment, screenings, follow-up care, and support. So what we do is we fundraise, and we have opened in the last 20 years two centers, one at St. Michael's, one at Trinitas Regional Medical Center, and the third one that's really exciting, we just launched a mobile mammography unit with the University Hospital in Newark. And we also have a grants program that supports many organizations that are like-minded that help women with breast cancer in our communities in New Jersey.
So your funding that you fundraise for comes from where?
A large part comes from small grants, family foundations, and individual donors.
And then you disperse the money through grants as well?
And we also have a grants program that's been around since 2022, so it's fairly new. And we're really excited that we have 2 cycles per year, and every cycle we get more and more grantees that we're giving to in the community to kind of like spread our reach throughout New Jersey, because we can't do it all. So there are a lot of really wonderful organizations out there helping women with breast cancer that are helping us accomplish our goals.
And your grants are listed on newjersey.grantwatch.com.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad.
And that's probably why you get a lot of applicants.
I bet we do. Yes, I hope so.
So have you gotten letters back from these the people that you've been funding?
We do get letters back, yeah, and it's nice because we have some reoccurring relationships then with them. It's about building relationships and seeing the success of their programs, and we really love to continue to support those programs.
That's what I tell grant writers and grant seekers, that when they communicate with the organization that has funded them, they're more likely to get funded again and again, because you want to hear that you're doing something really worthwhile. And they are doing it something worthwhile. So let's have that communication on a regular basis.
I agree. It's great to share their impact. When they make an impact in their community, we can share that. And our funders and donors love to know that their dollars are making a difference.
And so who's your typical fundee?
So I have a few I can highlight. The Connections for Women and Families is one here locally in our community in Summit, New Jersey. And they have a program for women with breast cancer that has support, not only through like exercise programs, health programs, but they also help feed families of women who are going through breast cancer. And it's called the Pathways Program and Pathways and Cooks. We also support Crossroads for Hope. That it's a social work program similarly designed in a different area of New Jersey in Somerset, where they're focused on mental health groups, women's support groups for women going through breast cancer, mentoring groups, and also community cooking groups. There's also Sister to Sister. It's another group, an organization like that. But we also support, I'd say, capital costs. Connie Dwyer started originally about 20 years ago funding capital costs for hospitals and for other organizations that provide MRIs, screenings, biopsies, and they need technical equipment and to stay state-of-the-art. Some of these nonprofit hospitals like Trinitas have to fundraise for those things. They're very expensive. So we're also funding the equipment that patients are using in the offices.
And what got you involved in this?
What got me involved in this? That's a great question. I started about 5 years ago. I think I was passionate about women's health, and the cause is very close to my heart. I know the family very well, and it was an easy jump. I used to do environmental nonprofit work, but to go to women's health, it's a great thing to be passionate about.
I agree. Definitely agree. So how much funding do you give out?
Well, our grant cycles give out about 100,000 a year in those smaller community grants, but then we've given out in the last, well, since 2016, over $2 million in grants. And those might be for larger projects like we do. I'll give you an example. University Hospital, we just launched our mobile mammography unit with them, and that was just over 500,000. And that was one of our larger grants. And to Trinitas, we've also given $1 million for their MRI suite. So we have special projects, and then our grant community grants.
Look how many lives you saved with all this, because preventive medicine is exactly what saves lives, and early detection.
Yes, early detection and screening does save lives.
Wow. And you have 2 different grant cycles, right?
We do. We have one that is in the fall, and the grant deadline is October 15th, and then again in the spring, which will be March 15th.
And we're very happy to host you on our website. We really are. It means that I'm also helping by having, right? And letting people
definitely are. I mean, we need to get the word out there, right? We need quality grants coming in with great, innovative new projects so we can fund them and all the women can benefit from them.
What do you find is a mistake that people make when they're applying for grants?
Oh, that's a great question. I've listened to a lot of your podcasts, and I love kind of listening to other people's perspectives. So that's a good one. I think maybe not telling the story and not giving like who it's going to impact. And we're so specific in breast cancer that we really want to know the person or the family or the community of women that this is really going to help. So kind of telling a personal story, about how the grant's going to be meaningful.
There are times when you get a grant and you probably set it aside and say, no way, we can't fund this. When does that happen?
I think the only time that really happens if you kind of don't meet our guidelines, if it's not a nonprofit that's helping women with breast cancer. So I think that happens where it's just like a little coloring outside of the lines. I think the projects on the grants are always doing good things and they're asking for money for worthy causes, which is really important. Sometimes they just don't fit our guidelines, but I think our grants committee is really good about reaching out to them and calling them and finding out more, like digging out more of the story to see if they really are a good fit or not.
So you don't really toss the grant?
No, not always. But and then it makes me think of something else. We always make sure that the grant can be fully funded, and we're not the only funder. Or what will they do if they don't raise the remaining money? If it's a high ticket item, if we're like the first wanting to give money and they're going out for to 5 other grant makers and things like that to make sure the project can be funded.
Right, because if they apply and that they can't complete the program with the amount of money that you're about to give them, you don't want to fund it because it's not happening.
Right, and we've done matching programs, and I was really happy there was a grant that we really wanted to give, and it was very successful. And I think it was $15,000, and we matched it with $15,000, and so that was a great success story.
What's the future of your organization?
That's a great question. It's funny. I look more and more into getting away from individual donors and going more into writing my own grants. I mean, we write a few. We do things like that, but we typically are an organization that raises money, but it gives it out to another third party doing great things. So it's hard. We don't own a bus. We don't own the center. It's housed within hospitals. So I think a lot of grant makers would like to give that money directly to that organization or foundation instead of through us. But I would really love to kind of build our grant writing and go after grants where we can operate that way instead of individual donors.
And you've seen enough grants to know how to write grants, that's for sure. And my book is available if you So
I need to get your book, Queen of Grants. Yes, definitely. Worth the read.
I didn't name myself that. I was on a podcast and somebody named me the Queen of Grants.
I like it.
So when I wrote the book, it just stuck. So you're doing great things. And you're in New Jersey, and I think that we need to do a call out to all the states to let them know, replicate this.
Thank you. I would love that. Yes, I'd like to get the word out and help all the uninsured and underinsured women in the communities around us.
And some women that are insured, it's just not enough sometimes. Sometimes they can't even do the copay.
I agree. And the medications, I mean, even things like we fund grants for lymphedema care. That's something like after you get a mastectomy, you have drains, and if they're infected, you need this care, and it's really expensive. And sometimes it's not always covered, right? You might need weeks of it, or that it might run out, but that's a good example. There's always things that come under expenses, even if you have health insurance.
And we don't want anybody to neglect themselves. If they need the help, we want to make sure they can get the help. And thank you so much, Sarah, for the great work that you do. And I want to speak to everybody that's listening or watching and tell you, if you want to hear more from foundations and nonprofits that are giving grants, or even corporations, hit the subscribe button in the right corner or all the way at the bottom, so that we can communicate with you and let you know when a new episode of GrantTalk has come out. And thank you so much, Sarah, and keep going from strength to strength. You're helping so many people.
Great. Thank you so much. And I hope we have great success on your website. Thank you. I appreciate everything.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to GrantTalk, powered by GrantWatch. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this GrantWatch channel. Please consider subscribing to GrantWatch.com, and you can find the book, The Queen of Grants, by going to GrantWatch.com/book. Thank you again for spending your time with us.